Dear students, I'm going to read the next chapter for you all. That is second part of the 100 Dresses by L. Bosser Esther. This chapter you already know the concluding part of what happens in the first part, that a girl is traumatized by bullying and how it affected her mindset, that we are going to discover, and how she reacts to it. We are going to study that, and that is revealed in this portion. While the class was circling the room, the monitor from the principal's office brought Miss Mason's a note. Miss Mason read it several times, studied it thoughtfully for a while, and then she clapped her hands. Attention, class, everyone, back to their seats. When the shuffling of feet had stopped, the room was still quiet, and Miss Mason said, "I have a letter from Wanda's father that I want to read to you." Miss Mason stood there a moment, and the silence in the room grew tense and expectant. As hopeful, what is there inside the letter? The teacher adjusted her glasses and slowly and deliberately is purposefully, her manner indicated that was coming. This letter from Wanda's father was a matter of great importance. No, it was very vital. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. "Dear teacher, my Wanda will not come to your school anymore. Now, Jack also, her sibling, must be studying. Now we move away to big city. No more Holopok. Now, this means the meaningless words or suggesting anger. No more fuss, no more chaos on more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. Yours truly, Jen Pretnosky." A deep silence met the reading of this letter. Miss Mason took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on her soft white handkerchief. Then she put them on again and looked at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low. "I am sure that none of the boys and girls in the room 13, that is their class number, would purposely or deliberately hurt anyone's feeling because his or her name happened to be long unfamiliar one. I prefer to think that what was said in thoughtlessness. You did it, you have to repent on it, and you were not bothered about it. Now you are conscious about what you did was wrong. Now you should not repeat it. I know that all of you feel the way I do, that this is a very unfortunate thing to have happened. Unfortunate and sad, both. And I want you all to think about it. The first period was a study period, and Mary tried to prepare her lessons. But she couldn't put her mind on her work. Who could not put her mind on her work? Mary. Because she was moved by the letter, because she was regretting already before the competition and after the competition. Now everything became worse. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. True, she had not enjoyed listening to Peggy ask Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet, in her cupboard, in her almirah. But she had said nothing, but she find herself guilty of not being retaliating to it, not being reacting to what Peggy was saying. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. So being a part of such mischief is also bad. You should not be part of anything wrong happening around, or you should react to it, whatever you feel. She was a coward. At least Peggy hadn't considered they were being mean, but Mary, had thought they were doing wrong. She couldn't put herself in Wanda's shoes. Put her in Wanda's shoes means no, on her place. What this phrase means? In her place. Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? If only she could tell Wanda she hadn't meant to hurt her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance at Peggy. But Peggy did not look up. She seemed to be studying hard. Well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, Mary, had to do something. She had to find Wanda Petnosky. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her. They would tell Wanda she had won the contest. That they thought she was smart and 100 dresses were beautiful. You can see all the 100 dresses displayed here. When she was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said, "What with the pretended casualness?" Peggy was hurt inside, but she is smart enough to handle it, and she was showing casualness. "Hey, let's go and see if that kid has left the town or not." And she's playing smart, and let's see, although she is in remorse or regret, but she is not showing that, and she is saying, let's see whether that kid, not taking her name Wanda, has left the town or not. So Peggy had the same idea. Mary glowed. Peg, her shorter form of name, Peggy is Peg, was really all right. The two girls hurried out of the building, up the street towards Bogans Heights, and the part of the town that wore such forbidding air, very bad air on this kind of the November afternoon. Drizzling, damp and dismal. That means wet and sad. And here is hopelessness also. "Well, at least," said Peggy gruffly, "and I never did call her a foreigner, make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb." And gee, no, the word, no, that they used to consider her, that is an exclamatory mark to say, "Oh, I'm surprised. Look how she can draw." Mary could say nothing. All she hoped was that they would find Wanda, and she wanted to tell her that they were sorry and they had picked on her. How wonderful the whole school thought she was, and please not to move away. Everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. "I think that's where the Petnoskys live," said Mary, pointing to the little white house. Wisp, a piece of old glass stuck up here and there along the pathway like thin kittens. Young ones of cat. They were hopping around. The house and its sparse, little sparse, sorry, and the house and its sparse little yard looked shabby but clean as a dress. No, she never used to be dirty, but it was clean dress she used to wear. Sparse is opposite of dense. It reminded Mary of Wanda's dress, her faded blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. There was not a sign of life about the house. Peggy knocked firmly on the door, but there was no answer. She and Mary went around to the backyard and knocked there. Still, there was no answer. There was no doubt about it. The Petnoskis were gone. How could they ever make amends? Now they were guilty inside and wanted to regret and repent. They turned slowly, made their way back down the hill. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she's gone now. So what can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawing. She's defending herself, and she might not even have won the contest otherwise. No, you can understand the character of Peggy, how boastful she is. The when I was pinpointing about her dresses, she must be getting those ideas in her mind, and that's why she won the contest. Maddie turned this idea carefully over in her head, for if there were anything in it, she would not have to feel so badly. But that night she could not get a sleep. She thought was about Wanda and her faded blue dress, the little house she had lived in, and she thought of glowing picture, those those 100 dresses made all lined up in the classroom. At last Maddie sat up in the bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hand and really thought that this was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long, long time, she reached an important conclusion. She was never going to stand by or say anything again. She will never now make fun of anybody or bully anybody again, or not even part of the group or troop who's making fun of others. If she ever heard anybody picking on someone because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, she would speak up. She is going to raise her voice, even if it is meant losing Peggy's friendship. And this is the ultimate thing she said, that I am not scared of losing Peggy's friendship. She had no way of making things right with Wanda, but from now she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. On Saturday, Maddie spent afternoon with Peggy and were writing a letter to Wanda Petnoski. It was just a friendly letter telling about the contest and telling Wanda she had won, and they told her how pretty her drawings were, and they asked her if she liked where she was living and if she liked her new teacher. They had meant to say they were sorry, regretting, they were apologizing through this letter, but ended up with their just writing a friendly letter, the kind they would have written to any good friend. They signed it with lots of X's for love. They mailed the letter to the Boggins Heights, writing, "Please forward," on an envelope. Days passed, there was no answer, but letter did not come back. So maybe the Wanda had received it. Perhaps she was so hurt and angry she was not going to answer. You could not blame her. Weeks went by and still Wanda did not answer. Peggy had begun to forget the whole business, and Maggie put herself to sleep at night making speeches about Wanda's, defending her from, this is how you repeat things, no, if you feel sorry, defending her from great crowd of girls who were trying to tease her with how many dresses have you got. She is again and again in her mind, making those speeches and defending Wanda. And before Wanda could press her lips together in a tight line, the way she did before answering, Maddie would cry out, "Stop!" Then everybody would feel ashamed, the way she used to feel. Now it was Christmas time, and there was snow on the ground Christmas bell. A small tree decorated the class. On the last day of the school before the holidays, the teacher showed the class a letter she received that morning. You remember Wanda Petnosky, the gifted little artist who won the drawing contest? Well, she has written me, and I'm glad to know where she lives, because now I can send her medal. I want to read her letter to you. The class sat up with a sudden interest and listening intently with lot of attention. Dear Miss Mason, how are you? And room 13, her classroom number. Please tell the girls they can keep those 100 dresses painting, because in my new house I have 100 new ones all lined up in my closet. Now she is making matter more lighter. I would like that girl Peggy to have the drawing of the green dress and the red trimming, the decoratives, and her friend Maddie to have the blue one. For the Christmas, I miss the school, and my new teacher does not equalize with you. No? And Merry Christmas to you and everybody. Your truly Wanda Petrosky. On the way home from school, Maddie and Peggy held their drawings very carefully. All the houses had wreath and holly. Holly is now a kind of plant on which you decorate in the windows. Outside the grocery store, hundreds of Christmas trees were stacked, and in the window, candy, peppermint, and sticks and cornucopias of shiny cornucopias as container of full of flowers and fruits. Transparent papers were strung, hanging down, tight in the string. The air smelled like Christmas, light shining everywhere reflected different colors of snow. Boy, said Peggy, this snow she really likes us. This shows she really likes us. It shows they're talking about Wanda. She got a letter, and this is her way of saying that everything all right. And that's that. I hope so. And said Maddie sadly. She felt sad because she knew she would never see the little tight-lipped Polish girl again, and couldn't ever really make things right between them. She went home and she pinned her drawing over a torn place in the pink flowered wallpaper in the bedroom. The shabby room came alive from the brilliancy of the colors. Maddie sat down on her bed, looked at the drawing she had stood by, and said nothing. But Wanda had been nice to her anyway. Tears blurred her eyes. She gazed for a long time at the picture and then hastily, she rubbed her eyes and studied it intently. Hurriedly, she rubbed her eyes and looked at very keenly. The colors in her dress were so vivid that she had scarcely noticed the face and head of the drawing, but it looked like her Maddie, and it really looked like her own mouth. Why, it really looked like her own self. Wanda had really drawn this for her. Excitedly, she ran over to Peggy's. And Peg, she said, let me see your picture. What's the matter? Asked Peggy. As they chattered up to her room where Wanda's drawing was lying, face down to the bed, Maddie carefully raised it. Look, she drew you. That's you, she exclaimed. And the head and the face of this picture did look like Peggy. What did I say? Said Peggy. She must have really liked us anyway. Yes, she must have, agreed Maddie, and she blinked away the tears that came every time she thought of Wanda standing alone in the sunny spot in the schoolyard, looking solitudely stolidly over. Stolidly means showing any, no showing, not showing any feeling. No, very, very blank face. Stood over at and group of laughing girls after she had walked off. After she said, sure, 100 of them all lined up. That's all in the beautiful story about a girl and her feelings. Not a girl, there were three girls and three types of feeling. I hope you understand how to sketch a character of three different mindset and three different girls. You can differentiate very broadly all three of them. I hope you like this story.